All right, everybody. So, welcome to the first Friday of June. So, I'm Grace, in case you haven't met me. I love doing the work. It's changed so much for me. Even when a storm arises and something happens in my initial response to whatever's happening in reality in the world, very quickly something moves to, is that true? What am I thinking? And I love that that's available from this practice. So, step one, taking a look at something that's been disturbing, sometimes for repetitive times, so many times. It's just been disturbing, really troubling, bothered you. A situation, a conversation you're having with the world, with life. And narrowing that down so that you see, like, slow the whole movie down, and it's as if you push pause on that movie in one place where your feelings were really, really disturbed. You had that rush of adrenaline shoot through you, or, ugh, I don't like it. And just notice what you're looking at. Just to make it really simple, we'll there's a person who just said something. And just notice what's happening within as you feel that disturbance, being against it, not liking it, being concerned, being sad, whatever stress is for you. This can be something from yesterday. It can be something from age 10. So we're just watching that happen. And then seeing like a little frame around it, just a moment. Wow, this is rough. I don't like it. I don't like what I see. I don't like what I heard. I don't like what I'm feeling. So just notice that situation. That's your moment. And I love how we're just pausing on it. We're going to hold very still, as if we push the pause button on the movie. And just trust the process. You know, you're going to pick one. Sometimes you see all kinds of things that you, oh my gosh, there's so much that I have been disturbed by in life. We're just going to pick one. So, does anybody have trouble finding one? Now, here's one thing I always often like to mention, and I remember so many of us, there we are, and we're somehow in relationship with the world. We're having this conversation. We don't like the conversation. We don't like what we see. And we want to do the work on ourselves. I came in thinking this, if I just fixed myself, then everything will be okay. What I actually love about the work is that's the fix it mind saying, there's a problem and there's some wisdom to it because we know really I'm the only one that can change myself. I can't change the world, so let's just work on me. But we kind of miss what we're really thinking about, what we're seeing, all the judgment and the pain over there and the attack, the sadness. I only feel upset with myself when I'm relating to something out there. And it's okay if it's not a person, it's money, your body, or if some of you have worked with me in food and eating, there's that food. That's okay. Just notice something about the thing between that's in the world and me does not work. And we're going to turn our attention towards the thing, not ourselves. So we don't have like that fix it mind, like improvement, constantly running, not doing the work so that we are better people. Although maybe that turns out to be the case when you do the work. But we're going to look at that and be really judgmental. All those things you're not allowed to do, shouldn't be so judgmental. Let's just be judgmental. So find that thing, that item, that person, that thing you're taking a look at, you've experienced, and hold still on that. And that's your situation today. Almost like a little, you put a frame on it. We're going to hold still on it. So does anyone need help locating your situation? Okay. Yeah. Claire, is that hand raised?
Yeah. It's like I can see a person that I have trouble with
Uh-huh.
at work, but I'm not quite sure what the phrase would be, or it's just I feel fear when I see her.
Ah, I love this. Okay. You feel fear. So just stay with the fear for a moment. Just feel that fear. There she is. And let it just sit there in your body for a moment. Come in. And now, if it had a voice, if this fear had a voice, what is it saying? I'm afraid with this person because. It's okay if it doesn't even make logical sense. Emotions aren't really that way. They follow the perspective, not necessarily logic. Let's see if you have any interactions that kind of.
Yeah, I just feel like she has power over me.
So good.
I'm afraid because I think I'm not safe, or she can destroy me somehow.
Ah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's very powerful. That's a great statement. She can destroy me. And it's okay if that means, you're not talking physically. There's something,
Yeah.
there's something about how she is, or something about the communication. She can destroy me. It seems really powerful.
Yeah.
And I'd say stay with it. There might be more images or pictures that you see, like, oh yeah, now I remember that other conversation with her, or when she said that thing, or I saw her doing, you just let it sift in there. But the wonderful thing is staying with that emotion that's so uncomfortable that all of us kind of hate. That can give you the message. She's going to destroy me. She can destroy me.
Mm.
Like with her words, with her.
In her eyes.
She could destroy me.
Yeah.
It's okay if it seems, it's subtle like that. It's just a picture. There's those eyes. They say that sometimes, right? Her eyes shot daggers at me.
Mm-hmm.
We can pick up a lot, as humans. Yeah. So there she is. And then you can see her, just, even if it seems very still and she's just looking or being herself over there. And you could just continue to let the feeling be there and the images of your experience. If something, I like thinking of it as, oh, this smells like something I've thought of as dangerous. Sometimes
Mm.
you see somebody we've never met before, but it's like, and they kind of remind you of someone, perhaps, or you just get a sense of something, and then it's great. They can just, yeah. And then you'll just get to see where it goes. See where it goes with the question as you watch the images or notice what you've got. Just right. I like how Byron Katie says it's listening, like we're taking dictation
Hmm.
about the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So that's what it means to be very unedited. Just let these thoughts be here. Like we get so judgmental of the thoughts, like, boy, that doesn't make sense in this situation. What's wrong with me? That's so embarrassing that I'm thinking that. Just let them all be there. So helpful. Okay. All right. So there's your situation. And just like Claire did, like be with your feelings there. I'm upset, I'm troubled. She named fear. Sometimes think everything fits under the umbrella. Mad, sad, scared. But just see, I am disturbed in this situation because I'm disturbed with this person, this thing, because, and see what comes out. A simple sentence. They're very simple without editing that voice. Yeah, Laura.
I'm not going to do or perform what they want or need correctly.
Ah, wonderful. Have you seen them before? So you won't do it correctly. And there they are expecting the correct way. Have you seen them criticize or not like or anything like that before?
Well, the inflection in their voice starts stimulating my sensory, as in danger, danger, it's coming, and I'm not going to know what to do correctly with words, with body movement, with my own inflection. It's a tremoring feeling.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I like these one. So I notice when I have anticipation, this is about to happen. This reminds me there might be, and you don't have to go here, but there might be proof that there are people in the world, or there is someone even close to you who is expecting you to do it correctly, who didn't like it when you did not do it correctly.
Yes, that's from my upbringing. We were under the thumb of perfectionism. She was under the thumb when she grew up as perfectionism. There was a way that even when it was perfect, it wasn't correct.
Wow. So you could go to that because there's your proof. You've got a lot of good evidence from your background that this is the way it is with people that are close to you. There she is, expecting, and she didn't like it. Like, how do you know that it's possible that somebody won't like it? You've already got proof that somebody didn't like it in the past, a lot. So I find, see if you can find a moment. I mean, I would go back. I love, Katie sometimes says, mother, father, sister, brother. We just stick with it. Mother, father, sister, brother. And then all these other people that are in our lives, they remind us of mother, father, sister, brother. So it's okay, do them on those people. But see, find a moment when she really did not like, maybe all the way back in childhood. This is clear evidence that you can do it wrong. You're not doing it correctly. And it's bad. It's scary.
Thank you. Grace, even when it was done correctly, or there was proof that it was done correctly, there could still be a slam, like,
Yeah.
it's still not correct.
Yes. That would that's powerful. It's like, you did it correctly, and there's still this criticism that's coming, this judgment. Yeah. That's a great moment. So you did it, and there's no approval. Just see if you can find a moment, because sometimes it can be a little composite, but there it is with this, whether you do it right or not. Look, you even did it right, and same result. And that can come out in your worksheet, you know, just noticing that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes find these that happened a lot originally, and then the people that we encounter are echoes. They're echoes of some of these old stories. Okay. Yeah, Gina.
What if it's I'm having trouble discerning what mine is. It's like yesterday, there was an accident. We live at an intersection, and there was an accident, and the car drove into the living room of my next door neighbor. And so she's okay. It's just like this explosion of sound, and then we heard a different sound.
Mm.
And this is a reoccurring, like I've walked through the park and I'll hear like dogs fighting, or, so it's a fear of a sound, and then what I'm going to see, what I'm going to discover. And there's like a fear there.
Ah, that's a good one. Yeah, sound kind of stimulus or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I don't like this sound.
So is it this, I think it's like more like it's the fear of what it means, like when I
Yes,
hear something that's disturbing. So I wasn't sure if I'm really upset about the sound as much as what I'm.
absolutely. That's exactly what it is. So I just go with what it means. Like just be, you know, just be big with that. Here's this sound that you hear, and what the mind that will start showing you images
Yes.
so quickly. So amazing, creative, it's like anticipatory fear. And it's the same thing as Laura was sharing. There's sort of, sometimes I think the nervous system is hooked up to, like, we hear.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something, when I've heard really loud sounds before, it's meant something. Not always though, like, when there's kind of the needle's like really, really sensitive. Yeah, stay with that and see what happens with the sound that you just heard.
Okay.
Put in what it means, even if it seems like I already know it doesn't mean that. Go ahead and let yourself see the images.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hi, Sarah.
Yeah, mine is about at first it was I'm disturbed with Chip, for feeling like I am being treated like a child. And then I realized that I'm going back this morning, realizing that I have a prescription that needs to be filled, and I don't know how to do it. And it brought me to a feeling of oh no, this is something that has happened over and over and over and over again, where oh no, and I'm feeling it right now. It's like this desperate feeling of, oh my God, my peace is going to be disturbed. I'm so happy, and now everything is going to go away. Because I have to do something that I have to ask help. I don't know how to do it. I have to ask help. And if I ask Chip, he's going to make me feel like a child. So I know it goes way back. And, but there's some part of me that feels really, really like grateful that I'm finally pinning down something that was so elusive to me.
Yes.
About this feeling. inside me that comes up whenever something I have to do is going to require something that I have to do online or make a phone call, and it just disturbs everything. It just gets me completely, like, if I don't get this done right away, it's like this desperate, I have to make this right or I can't go on.
So good.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Powerful.
very, yeah. So is it more? I mean, I know where this came from. It was a certain incident with my mom that, you know, I mean, like you say, start with your mom. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just shocking to me that it's taken me 72 years to uncover this. You know, it's amazing
Yeah.
that I know where it's from. I can intellectualize it, but I'm feeling it now.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
feeling this is such a stupid thing. Get a prescription fulfilled. My mind wants to say, "This is so stupid, Sarah. Why are you upset? I mean, there's all this stuff going on in the world, but how could you feel upset about that?
Yeah.
It's so stupid, you know." And I'm trying
Yeah.
while I'm online, which is good because I normally would not. You know, I would normally say, "Oh, I have to get this done."
Yeah.
And I have to go through all this feeling stupid and childlike by asking my husband questions and getting online and not being able, you know, one thing after another goes wrong, too long, too much of a wait. How, you know, it's like, so,
Yeah.
so I'm just right in the middle of it.
So
Yeah.
good. I love it. It does sound like it's an echo based on what you're speaking to. This is same situation. And I would go back, and you can even kind of hold them a little bit both at the same time, you know. But go to mom. I require help, and I require help for, you know, I need this. I need something for survival. I mean, it's sort of like what life is about. It's critical. And in some ways you can watch that and just noticing I need this help and speak from that one, you know, this who is the child that is not being helped or somehow, like whatever mother's doing over there. Yeah. And it's okay. You know, I love the way you speak to that. It's like watching, I covered this up, I turned the corner, I pushed this away, I didn't realize. And you know, maybe even that's all okay. It's just like survival working, you know, it's kind of amazing the mind can move on and do what it needs to do, you know. So
I'm here now.
perfect.
I'm here now.
Exactly.
I'm hearing everything from what everyone has said so far.
Yes.
Has helped to get to realization.
Yes. And I love not too early, not too late, right on time.
Right on time.
Right on time. Yes.
I know.
Beautiful. All right.
Thank you.
Yes. 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 Yeah. I love how that mind, that, you know, the chattering mind will come in and say, you know, like, you didn't do it fast enough. Because, oh, this is all about me and how horrible I am, which raise my hand. I'm right in there with you all. And you kind of lose it's like a shame blanket. I think of the shame blanket gets covered over with everything. And there's sort of something that, you know, if you throw a blanket over something, you don't see it, and it's a wild caged animal. You throw a blanket over it, they calm down. There's something to that. And we're taking the blanket off. Let's just focus on this thing that's been so disturbing. Yeah. Anyone else? Did I see any other hand? Oh, yes. Diva Priya. Is that how you say your name?
Hi, Grace. This is Wei, and I'm using David's account because I don't.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Wei. Hi. How you guys?
Back to the side.
Okay.
Well, I just wanted to share that I really related to what Sarah just said, because I'm dealing with the situation with filing out taxes. And you know, we moved from Hong Kong to the US like 3 years ago, and we're like, every time I look at trying to reconcile two countries, I just have this terrified desperation that I don't know I don't know where all these numbers go. I mean, I'm just like, whoa. I don't know how to handle it. I don't know. And then, you know, there's this fear and also the shame that comes from like, why didn't I take care of this better? And, you know, everything. I'm just like completely panicked when I have this email that says, you need to file your taxes and here is all the information that we need. And I'm like, fuck.
And we're paying our taxes and we have a financial advisor. It's not like we're,
Right.
you know, like it's not like we're, even with that, it's the things they keep asking for. It's like it freezes you, like we need this specific account and this specific number and this date and where did that come from? And we're like, what? Like,
and it's like years ago. I don't know where that money came from and where it, you know, it's like, so my question is, because I know you said don't do it on yourself, but a lot of this feeling comes from like my own like regret and shame. So
Yes.
how do I turn it around? Should it be like, I'm terrified of
the US tax
my
system.
taxes?
Yeah. They're the whoever wrote the letter. It's okay if you've just, all we have is words on a piece of paper. The IRS.
No, it's our advisor. Our financial advisor is asking for more information about our bank accounts overseas to file together.
Got it. Yeah. Where does your mind travel for who's to blame besides you?
Me?
Me?
No, it's usually me that I should have, you know, that.
Well, it could be me because I used to do our taxes in Hong Kong and Australia.
But that's not where my mind travels.
But there is something about this tax thing going on. Like if the tax thing was just resolved, everything would just, all those fountains of fear would just go, like Yellowstone National Park, it would all just suddenly stop because everything's done. Taxes are finished. It's all okay. Never mind. We don't need to know. So I would say focus on, you can say taxes, these taxes themselves. I've done the work on that myself. And just focus on those taxes and needing the number and the bank account and the kind of group. There's the taxes and yeah, do it on that.
Okay.
It's funny because I feel like this is, I'm mad at the US tax system because we used to live in a country where citizens could file and understand their taxes. We've never lived in a country that it's so muddy.
Yes. That's perfect. Yes.
I feel mad that to live in America, you are disempowered to the tax system. Like that's actually why I feel frustrated because why can't citizens do their own taxes?
That's a great, yes, there they are, the tax system.
Yeah.
Tax, that's it.
Thank you.
Yes, it's a great one, so thank you. And that's such a good example because often it's just so quick to go like, well, if I had done this, this wouldn't be happening. But just to notice the thing that we're against, really let yourself have it. So unedited and holding on that picture, right? Stay there. Whatever it is, you're looking at this thing, taxes, person, whatever. Okay, I am upset because I'm upset with this because, and just see what the most short, simple sentence is that follows. Why is this troubling?
I have a question. My worksheet.
Yeah.
I have done a group of people and I'm included in that group.
You are.
Yeah. Is that too much of it that it's about you as well?
See what happens. Sometimes if you're, identified, I mean, there'll still be a other. There's the whole group, and look at them. Be sure to look at them all while you fill out your worksheet.
Right.
Yeah. Them,
Okay.
me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, great questions. Just noticing, noticing our argument from the very start and how often it leans into self-improvement. And this is about understanding, because if that worked, we would have been very improved by now. All right. I'm upset with that because if it sounds like a childish, immature, judgmental, non-PC voice, just let it be there. That's the spirit. We're listening to that one. We usually want to smack that one away. We're listening. Number 2, same situation. We're going to study what happened there. Number 2, how do you want it to change? How do you want what you're looking at to change? What do you want it to do? What do you want them to do? What do you want this person to do? So same thing, if it feels like a tantrum, let it be there. Staying in touch with the feelings. Tremors, somebody said. Fear, just your nervous system getting activated. So that one's being with that one. How do you want what you're looking at to change? What do you want them to do? So like that's part of the question. It's like just noticing just the immediate. I want them to stop. It's very simple, just simple. Number 3, with this question, what advice would you give? So, it should, they should, shouldn't, it shouldn't, he or she shouldn't, they shouldn't. So what advice would you give? And especially so that they can do that thing that you want, how you want them to change. What advice would you give so that they could be the kind of person or that it might change if that fits? Number 4, I love this one, begins, in order for you to be happy in the situation. Just pause a moment. In order for you to be happy, because sometimes we'll think, well, that would be impossible in this situation. There's no happiness in this situation. But let's just see. In order for you to be happy in this situation, whether it was relaxed or calm or excited, peaceful, joyful, relieved, it's all okay. Whatever happiness would fit in this situation, what do you need from them, from what you're looking at? What do you need from it? What do you want it to do, say, think, feel? I need it or them to. I love giving myself everything I need in this sentence, like even if part of my mind thinks that'll never happen, just giving myself all of it. Like, what would I want to hear them say? What do I need them to say? And then it would just, oh, wow, okay, something has changed. It's like my prescription for happiness in this situation. I think of prescriptions as like you take droplets or a little pill or something like that. If you got that, what would it be like? What would be the words that they say, or the letter you receive, or the condition that's different? Number 5, how would you describe this person or this thing that you're looking at? And I love this one, very unedited. Just see from that original feeling how you actually feel in this situation. How would you describe what you see? Make a list. So just one word at a time with commas separating. It is, they are. So example on number 5, I'm reading a text from my sister. In that situation, she is selfish, judgmental, frightened. Not giving me a chance. And the very last question, what is it that you never want to experience again? If you got to have your say. Same thing. If you think, well, that's impossible. That's what I want to not experience is never going to happen. I'm going to keep it. Just let that voice relax and be honest, unedited. I don't ever want okay. I think of this slow way of sitting with a judge or neighbor, sometimes with a group, even better. It's so powerful just to be slow with it. I've taken an entire, like 2 days to fill out a judge or neighbor before, just to get these, just to answer the questions and see what it is I'm thinking and believing. Because putting words to it, the feeling is just awful. Now let's put some words to it. What is that belief? So you've got this, whether you do the work on it right now today or not, you've got this, and you can have somebody facilitate or begin to go through one belief at a time or call the helpline. Okay, but who would like to do the work now? So you can, yeah, Gail. Awesome. Okay, I'm unmuting you. All right.
Okay.
Hi.
All right. Hi.
Hi.
I'm doing this one on an adult son.
Great.
And so you tell me, you want me to just read the situation?
Yeah. Tell me
Okay.
the situation and read what you wrote.
Okay. He got arrested protesting
Oh.
during the protests. And I mean, he got for failure to disperse. And he was actually very innocent in the whole thing. And, he didn't, he's home and he's fine. He has a court date. They said they're so backed up, it might be months. But that's the immediate incident, okay?
Yeah.
And so what I said is that in this situation, okay, I am disturbed and worried with my son because he is always getting himself into bad situations.
Okay.
And that's just what came out. I was trying to get the right words and everything, but that's what
I love it. Whatever it comes out,
yeah,
just
yeah. And he has gotten himself, I don't mean bad like with the law. He's never been arrested in his life or done anything. I mean, even this wasn't doing anything illegal. But he gets himself into, he's been catfished, he's just like that. He just So but that's the one you said pick one. So I just picked the most recent one.
Beautiful. Okay. What did you write for the next one? I want him to.
Okay, I said, I want him to step back and be more discerning before he rushes into things. I want him to be successful through making good decisions. I want him to be more consistent about things, stick with something good.
Okay.
But I'm getting more how I'm supposed to focus on the situation. I think sometimes I've let my worksheets get away from me because I just start talking about everything.
Yes.
And I'm just noticed, I've been doing a lot of worksheets, and it says in this situation.
Yes.
So I'm trying to pull myself back to say, in the situation where he got arrested, I wished he had been more discerning before he rushed into things. That would probably be the main thing in that.
Well, let's do that
situation.
Yeah. So we could start there.
Okay.
And I like that. That's a great thing to notice that what comes out in number one is he gets himself into bad situations and you see them all. Like,
Yeah,
here we go again. Here we go
I
again.
know.
You
It's
know?
like, oh God, Jamal. No,
Yes. And so it's good. Kind of narrow it down and hold still on that, even though there's something repetitive in this, a repetitive belief, that's okay. It's like just watching it helps to narrow it down, because you do the work on one and it kind of can affect the others. Okay. So I want him to be more discerning.
To step back and be more discerning, yes, before
Okay.
he rushes into things.
Okay. 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 And I want him not to rush. How you'd want him to be more discerning is I want him
I
not
want him not
rush.
to rush into things, but to think, stop and think
Yes. Okay.
about consequences, I guess.
Yes. Okay. So in this situation, let's just look at the simple, just based on what you just said, he rushed into it. He rushed into this. So everybody find, Gail will be doing the work on her situation, but you find where you have believed this thought that somebody rushed into something. Whether it's what you just wrote a judge your neighbor on or not, like there's just a rush, there wasn't a pause, whatever, however that fits for you, and just let this work also be yours. You know. Okay. So he rushed into it. Is that true?
Boy, that's a good question, but I'm going to say yes.
Yeah. Which is what I love.
That's what's, when
Yes.
that's more, that's.
This is my favorite, that there's two parts.
Yeah.
Trying to get to say, it's like we're not just batting down our own answer. It's like, yeah, he rushed into it. Yes, he rushed into it.
There's a part of me that says, well, in his mind, he would, you see, but I'm going off, but I have to look at what's in my mind.
Yeah. Yes.
And in my mind, he rushed into it.
Yes. So still, so staying with yourself.
Okay.
And looking at him, can you absolutely know that that's true? Like with no shadow of a doubt that he rushed into it.
Right.
It should have been slower. Can you absolutely know that that's true? Just see.
Well, it's a definite no. I'm at that place in my life where that's a definite no.
Okay. Good to notice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love just watching. Like if I know there was no rushing, then this wouldn't have happened. Can I even know that that's true? Maybe rushing is good sometimes. That's where I have all kinds. Same thing. I can't absolutely know it's true.
Can't absolutely know.
Yeah. All right. What happens when you believe he rushed into this? It's not good. How do you react?
I get afraid. I worry. I get into guilt as a parent. Like, where did I go wrong? Why isn't he more mature about things? But mainly, I just worry. My heart palpitates. It gets fluttery.
What images do you see about where this is going?
Oh God.
Yeah.
I get into a lot of the what ifs. I mean, when I heard the story, he was home safe, but a lot of grace happened for it to work out okay. And I just think, oh my God, what if they had, knocked him down and beaten him? What if, they hadn't let him go? What if they hadn't believed what he said? He had his cell phone, so he was able to prove some things. He had a video. What if? And I get into catastrophic thinking is what I do.
Yeah.
I just start thinking the worst things about him. And I don't like that feeling of thinking such thinking bad things about my son, of what could happen to him or what could have happened to him.
Yeah. it's kind of good to notice. It's like my mind rushes into
Oh my God.
it,
Yeah.
rushes
Mhm.
in.
Yeah.
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 And
And
then I have doubts about him as a, yeah, it's the what if. I go into the worry and
yeah.
what's going to happen to him in his life, and
Oh, yeah.
will he ever get it all together? And
Oh, so good. One, just this incident or some of
Mhm.
those others that you
Mhm.
mentioned, you see pictures of that too, in a way you're like, they're in the files that he's rushed before. And then his whole
Mhm.
entire life is a life
Mhm.
of somebody who rushes into things,
Mhm.
and it's not good. And yeah. And jail and the worst and catastrophe, all of that, just watching and how it feels in the body, terrifying, you know.
I mean, given, yeah, in light of current events, he could have been killed.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And what's powerful about this work is it's not denying, it's just noticing.
Mhm.
So we're not pretending when we do this work, we're not pretending it's not as bad or something like that. But in this moment, like,
In this moment.
yeah,
Mhm.
you've got other images of people being killed, which are
Mhm.
huge right now, right? It's like this is happening. But in this situation, it's like it gets kind of covered up. It's in this situation too.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I heard you say, this is always so important. How do you treat yourself? I'm a bad mother.
Yeah.
I didn't do it right.
Mhm.
Feel what that feels
Yeah.
like physically. It's very hard.
Where did I miss the boat? Where did I?
Yeah. Like what we were talking about at the beginning, with many of you just mentioning, even finding the situation. It's look how we treat ourselves. I'm
Mhm.
responsible. I did it wrong.
Mhm.
I missed the
Mhm.
boat. There's something wrong with me. I didn't do it.
Mhm.
This is my responsibility.
Mhm. And what I'm noticing as you're asking me the question, I also rush in, I overhelp him.
It's so good to notice.
I'm just noticing that, like, how do I react? And I've always known I overhelp him, but I didn't realize it was in reaction to what I was
Yeah.
thinking. You know what I mean? I didn't see the connection, but I'm seeing that I over mother him as a result of that.
Yeah. So great to see that. It's almost like it's Velcroed to,
Mm-hmm.
he rushed into this. I need to help him.
Mm-hmm.
They're right together.
Mm-hmm. And help him so it doesn't happen again, and
Yes. Yeah.
teach him and tell him and remind him. And
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of work.
yes.
All right. So who would you be without the thought? He rushed into it. Yeah. I heard that breath.
Yeah, I mean, I would be happy. I would just be, I'd be proud of him. I'd be, in this situation, I would actually be very proud of him. I'd be celebrating him. That seems so, well, that's just like, oof, oof.
Mm.
From worry and feeling bad to celebrating him. His, I could see fearlessness, which is not always a bad, that's not a bad thing necessarily. Anyway, I would just, there's a million good qualities about him that just start sprouting up for me,
Yeah.
of how I would feel about him. And I can feel it in my heart, where my heart was feeling burdened.
Yes.
I can feel, if without that thought, there's all these other wonderful thoughts about him
Yes.
that are coming up. I mean, he's a soldier for the underdog. He gets out there. He's a man of conviction. He did what he needed to do. He survived it all. He's fine. I would just be running with an entirely different view of the whole situation.
So wonderful.
And
There he is. And this thing I was calling rushing, I'm
yeah.
actually appreciating without the thought. I didn't
Mhm.
know that was called rushing in.
Exactly.
Oh, this happened. It's a happening, and
Mhm.
there's benefit. There's
Mhm.
some pride. I mean, how?
Or
Yeah.
at maybe even best case scenario, just feeling neutral about it. That just, it's another day. This is something that happened. And I did hear Byron Katie say on something the other day, like, it's just information rather than.
Yes. I also like noticing when something happens, and I don't hear. I hear you noticing that this thing happened. You had images in your head, and then he's home safe. So it's like,
Mhm.
but even if he was in jail,
Mhm.
or it's like, how do I know? Who would I be without the thought? It's like a total disaster. I do like noticing that the thing ends or something continues to move. Some things change and take longer than others, but it's the initial the pictures of you, seeing him out in the whatever getting arrested looked like
Mhm.
is now over.
Mhm.
That's no small thing.
Mhm.
It's like that loud noise Gina mentioned, or the
Mhm.
moment of reading a letter or whatever. Something moved. I put meaning on it, but it's nice to notice that without my story,
Everything's okay.
yes,
He's fine. He's fine.
yes, I'm
Mhm.
in my living room.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
I'm I'm sitting. There's quiet. I went to sleep. Maybe sometimes they're anxious.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So he rushed into this turnaround. I rushed into this.
Yeah.
My thinking did. My thinking did.
Yeah. I rushed into putting a lifetime of story on top of this incident.
So
I
good.
just went right there.
Yeah.
Oh, here he goes again.
Yes.
That was my first thought.
Yeah. So good. Yeah.
Here he goes again.
Rushing like a big
Mhm.
waterfall of all the
Mhm.
little passes on that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Trying to help, trying to do, just.
Mm. It's good to see. Who was the one who was rushing? Oh, that would be me.
I rush to judgment, as they say. Yes.
Yeah. And it's okay. It's like compassion for this one who, just compassion for the self that's doing that,
Mhm.
or the mind that's doing
Mhm.
that.
Ooh, that's definitely rewiring some things in
Yeah.
there. Ah,
It's nice.
almost feels like when you eat ice cream or something, you get that cold rush in your brain, that freeze thing. That's how I feel right now in this moment.
Ah,
Ah,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Sweet.
Ah,
Yeah. So I rushed into things. So another turnaround. He rushed into this. He didn't. He didn't rush. How is that? How could that be true? He didn't rush.
well, it could certainly be true because everything that led up to the getting arrested, he was very deliberate, very thoughtful, and actually mindful about what he was doing. Even he was waiting for he didn't drive there. He rode the train there, tracks,
Ah.
and so he had left at curfew because he didn't want to violate the curfew. So he'd left at the curfew, but the train was late. It just wasn't coming, wasn't coming, wasn't coming. And so he just kind of walked back to the edge of the thing while he was waiting for the tracks, and he was actually filming some things for a friend of his that's like a reporter, because he'd called somebody to come give him a ride, and that his friend was really sick, but his friend's a reporter, and he said, "Hey, while you're out there waiting for your train, get me some, take some shots."
Yeah.
So he had walked back a little bit closer to get some video, and that's when the police came charging and just barreled over him and took him down. He was like, he didn't even know what hit him.
Wow.
So
It's like he didn't rush. He's just walking.
he got rushed, actually.
Yeah. He didn't
The
rush at
police
all.
rushed him
Yeah.
and knocked him down. He wasn't
Yeah.
really, there wasn't any rushing, actually, in reality.
Isn't that?
I can't even find where he
Yeah.
was. Did I just make that up?
Well, I find that's what the mind does. It's like grabs the story, you know,
Oh my
goes,
God.
we'll go with
I mean,
that.
there's nothing there
Yeah.
about rushing.
Yeah. He even sounds like he was thoughtful and kind of
Yeah.
deliberate
Yeah.
and, oh, it's time to go because the curfew. Yeah.
He didn't necessarily do everything the way I would have done it,
Uh-huh.
but that doesn't mean what? That what he did was wrong or rushing or not thoughtful.
Beautiful to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And this
I
rushing
mean,
thing, you know, it's fun. It's so interesting to see something just happened. And if there's even more on not just Sun, but whoever's coming in, police and all that,
mhm,
they're the ones who are rushing. You know,
mhm.
that's an interesting, you're not saying you're wrong, but like just watching what's going on there, you know, the lack of safety that
Mhm.
we'll just zoom in
Oh
on.
my
And
God, yeah, it just suddenly happened.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
everybody was standing still. He was videoing this little situation, and the police were like yards away, just standing still, and the crowd was still, and then just suddenly they just like a tsunami. That's how it was, you know. It just kind of like this wave of policemen just came down and just anybody in the way,
Wow.
boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. Which is same thing. We're not in denial. We're just watching and
Mm-hmm.
looking where the mind looks to
Mm-hmm.
find the blame.
Mm-hmm.
And I just find without blame and openness,
Mm-hmm.
there's more. Like if I'm in contact with that, it's not I'm not becoming passive. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying I'm not doing something. I'm not aware. There's something going on here, but just noticing even that the rushing, yes, hearing about it, seeing it in your mind's eye, and then
Mm-hmm.
noticing he's back at home, like things
Mm-hmm.
are okay. You know, that's
Mm-hmm.
that part's okay. So something like there was a rush, like a wave that
Mm-hmm.
happens in nature, and then it's over.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So even
I
that,
like that. Mm-hmm.
even that is
Mm-hmm.
now relaxed. It's not continuously rushing, except for in the head.
I love that. Just an aside that it happens in nature. I never thought about what people do as natural, and
Yeah,
that's a whole nother meditation I'm going to do after I get off of this. But
yeah,
I've never thought about how when you were talking about when I was talking about the police kind of coming down like a wave
mm,
as something like when a tsunami, that's not necessarily looked upon as like a happy thing,
right.
but we do understand it's Mother Nature.
Yes,
And so when you said that even that police thing coming down, there's something in nature about it. Anyway, that
yeah,
I'm tripping, but
awesome.
that's a
Yeah,
deep thought that I just wrote it down because I'd like to meditate
yeah,
on that. Mhm.
yeah.
That's a little goodie that I'm getting
Nice.
out of this that has sort of nothing to do with the immediate,
Yeah.
or maybe it does.
Yeah, maybe it does. Who knows? You know, it's just like watching.
Mm-hmm.
I'm against what's happening, and we can be like, yeah, not pleasant. Wouldn't think of it as a fun,
Mm-hmm.
fabulous thing. I can't wait
Mm-hmm.
for the tsunami. You
Mm-hmm.
know, whatever, for survival purposes. You know, the body.
Mm-hmm.
But just watching or a little more forgiving sometimes with that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's what happens in
Mm-hmm.
the world. You
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm. It's life, part of life.
Yeah,
It's life. Yeah,
it's not condoning.
life happening.
It's not condoning.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do
No,
this.
I get it. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Oh, wow. Whew.
powerful.
That's the gifts that this work gives.
Yeah. Yeah.
The gifts, they just,
Because how is it more likely that you will be able to participate and make contact and communicate and be in there? You know, how can I help? Being of service if you want to, like with the thought or
with or without fear.
without
Yes.
the thought.
Yeah. Yeah. Whew.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Mm.
So feedback. What did anyone get? What did you notice? Did you follow? Did the situation, did you relate? Yeah.
Hi, Gail. I want to thank you for sharing your mother's perspective to someone who was protesting. Like, that was so, thank you so much. And the thing that I keep coming at, what is so, it's like the world is rushing right now to, like, the way you process I was rushing my thoughts about my son, and my first feedback is like how responsible your son sounded as a protester. but just that the world is rushing, you know, our judgments, our thoughts, the news, information, right? We're like getting phone calls, you know, rush, and I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing, but my feedback is really like we're all in a rush right now to respond, understand, backtrack, engage. It's like,
yeah.
So I want to thank you for doing the work to slow down, because that checked my rush too. So thank you.
Thank you.
And that he was rushed, right? Like,
Yeah.
God bless him, he was just waiting for a train and trying to get taking time to get some video footage. Like, the world rushed him then. So thank you.
That's sweet. It's like, it's not personal in a way. It's a collective feeling, perhaps, you know, just and being able to question in the midst of all of it.
And thank you,
Deva.
Because I was hearing, once again, there's no way to like fix something good or bad. I mean, it's like the non-duality aspect of both and, because the rush for the world to be better is a good thing.
Yeah.
We need to speed that up. That needs to speed up. So, yeah.
And I'm, you know, I am obviously white, but I am grateful for the rush that is making, you know,
the world a better place.
I'm really grateful that the tsunami is raining down on me, that I cannot avoid everything that I am hearing, and I am rushing to absorb information right now. That is the good thing.
Thank you for that, because it's opening my thought as well. It's such a, thank you. It's a communal.
Yeah. And like, it's also my job to rush for you now. It's my job to rush for you.
So sweet.
Yeah. Really, really fast.
Thank you.
That's sweet.
It
Fine.
means everything.
Yeah. Gorgeous. So beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. Sarah.
Thank you, Gail. Yeah, I was struck by seeing the wisdom and the courage of your son. in a time when things are so rushing, and that he remains a figure that I've sort of impressed in my heart of an example of a young person who is wise and knowing. And we need all of us to step up to his example. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Sarah. Laura.
I was moved when you talked about when Grace asked you, who would you be without? And you said the things you said, but what welled up in my heart is a proud mother. And thank you for doing the work with us.
Hmm. I love finding out that rushing is not so bad. It's like, oh no, this terrible rushing. Right. Might be some, little of this, little of that, little good.
What if they fools rush in where wise men fear to tread, and thank God for it, huh?
Yes. Yeah. It's like how we sit with number 6, I am willing to experience this. I look forward to experiencing this again. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome, Gail. Yeah. Thank you for your courage. Yeah. Yeah. So a little bit of time, if anyone is open to a short kind of, as we call in the yellow card, like just the 4 questions, opening to the turnaround. It's amazing what can be done in only 10 minutes sometimes, right? Speaking of rushing. Yeah, Julie. Hi.
Hello. Hi. It's really about what Gail was talking about. Thank you, Gail. I've got grown-up kids, and we've been talking a lot. We're in Canada, and we've been talking a lot about what's been going on with Mr. Floyd and everything this week. It's all everything's very difficult, and yet people are talking and raising consciousness about it all, of course. But there's a real frustration, say for my kids, they're like angry. There's been a case here where I live where someone's been outed on Facebook for being racist, and they've lost their job. The whole community is like going after them, and so there's I can sense in these young people, in yourself. It's like, okay, what are you supposed to do? It's like, how do you react to all this? It seemed to me like it's almost gets turned around. It's almost like that if people could have got hold of that police officer, they'd lynch him, which is the same thing. It's that we're going to end up doing the same thing if we react in the same violent way, trying to change someone's mind. You can't change someone's, but when I sort of did the work on it, it seemed to me that I found I couldn't change anybody's mind except by, if I was not able to be in conversation with them, hopefully to try and divert them, trying to question their beliefs, or help them question their beliefs. So, but the conversation I had last night with my kids was like, they were like, yeah, well, it's not enough. You got to do something, which of course we must. We must address the roots of racism in everything that's what we do. but it's really when people, it's in people's hearts. And my son's girlfriend and her dad is racist, and he's a Jehovah's Witness, and he's a religious man. He's racist, and she hates this in him, and she won't talk to him, and so there's real issues, isn't there? It divides everybody. And I said, you can't make your dad believe. You can't change his belief, and it just, how do you feel about your dad? So it's a very difficult thing, isn't it? I think, thank God for the work. I think.
Because then you can go in and you can have more of like a flow of conversation can happen, and just watching the mind kind of go, no, 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 no,
Yeah.
oh no, with all the pictures, so many pictures and images that come in, especially when there's fear. I always think hatred is fear. It's fear. It's,
Yeah.
But,
I grew up in Northern Ireland, and there's fear, and people become very stuck in their belief to protect themselves for their identity, and you can't make someone change their mind. I mean, you can kill their family and they won't change their mind. In fact, it just makes it worse. Just makes it, reprisal upon reprisal. So it's a very deep one. To be violent towards other people, we don't like their beliefs and their actions.
Yeah.
It's never going to work. That's the issue. That's the problem. Got to find another way. It's hard to love them, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's hard to love them, but really, there's no other way.
The tiniest drop, noticing the hatred that gets passed along, or the fear, or the difficulty, and I think it's good to question. I need to love them now. Like, it just letting yourself, as we did, like, be all the way in it, but sitting with this as a meditation, like we're doing, so helpful. So, as Sarah says, hatred is constipated love. And yes, Gina. Yeah.
Just a quick thought. I remember about a month or two ago that we were writing a worksheet about, the pandemic is so bad. And something that occurred yesterday is because of all of that we're, really discussing and looking at in ourselves and in our lives as a result of what happened with George Floyd. I'm like feeling like, in that turnaround, the pandemic is good. And we were trying to see if there was anything good in it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the fact that we're home, many of us are home, and the world is slowed down, and we're being asked to really look at what's happening, and we can't really distract ourselves with other things necessarily during this time of COVID, that I feel like it has the potential to have a much greater impact. And so I was thinking that in that turnaround, the pandemic is not bad, that was an example.
Yeah. I love when that happens, some inquiry that you're looking at, and here 2 months later, here comes a turnaround example. Beautiful. Letting it take the time it takes. Yeah. Thank you. Claire, I saw your hand up. Were you volunteering to do the work?
Yes, but I think maybe it takes a little bit longer. I don't know.
Yeah, right. It might at this point. Why don't you share what you were looking at? Just,
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mentioned it before. First of all, thank you everyone for sharing. It's really touched me a lot as mother. So it's the fear I have of this woman. I know it's my boss at work.
Bosses are so good. Yeah, they're
really.
They represent, yes. Yeah.
Well, the nice thing about it, it's not. And the nice thing is that I have several bosses, so it's not constantly with this feeling all the time. But whenever I'm working with her, I feel that I've been trying to do the work, or I've been doing the work on it, and it's helped me, but I just feel that it just keeps coming up. I just see a picture of her and I feel fear. So I know that it's totally in my mind.
Yeah. Well, I love you've begun, and you know, maybe just knowing, I mean, beautiful. It's underway. It's an inquiry that's underway. We don't have to expect it to like do the work and then everything changes in 1 minute, or no agenda. And it's taking the time it takes. I think it takes the time it takes. It's okay, and even that's okay. Even that's okay. So just very sweet. There she is. I remember having a coworker. The coworker scene is so, or bosses, people at our jobs, you know, where we go and live at. The last job that I had, there was a coworker. Oh my goodness. I was doing work, and it was several worksheets for sure. It was over time. You know, it was like something about it, and the fear, just watching that fear rise. Oh my God, I'm so against it. Just can't something happen here? And just to stay with it and look, you know, look and see. And she totally reminded me of my mother. I think you were saying, you know, I could see I could see the tendrils and the pieces happening. Extreme fear of lack of approval and rejection, and the dangers of that. So, you know, you're on the right track. It gets there.
Yeah, it's encouraging. You know, I think when Byron Katie also said that with her mother, it took several years, I think 3 years.
Yes.
And I was like shocked because I thought, wow, I mean, I didn't really that would happen with her, you know?
Right.
And so all the more just to stick in there.
Yeah.
And knowing, I know perfectly well that it's not her, but yeah.
And it's just appearing. I love noticing these things appear so that I notice an argument that I have with reality. It's deep, and it's okay. It's like, just letting it take the time it takes and continuing to understand. And we're not in charge of when it's done or not. And I love the peace that can happen in an inquiry, in a meditation. But it's like, just like meditation, you know that already. Like, we don't meditate once and say, great, you know, meditation for practice. So
that's right.
Yeah. Well, I love you brought that mother in. Bring her again next time. I mean, the coworker, boss. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Very sweet to be with you all today. What a wonderful way to begin a new moment. So thank you all so much. See you next time. Lots of love.